Hi there, welcome back to the channel. My name is Fred Macedo and I'm here with my friend Rosangela for another Gospel at Home. Before we start, I'm going to ask Rosangela to make our initial prayer. Please, Rosangela.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Thank you, Rosangela. Now I'm going to share my screen. This is the Gospel according to Spiritism. The night's theme is whoever does not hate his father and mother. A large crowd of people was walking with Jesus when he turned to them and said, "If anyone comes to me but does not hate his father or his mother, his wife and his children, his brothers and his sisters, and even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. And anyone who does not want to take up his cross and follow me cannot be my disciple. Therefore, anyone among you who does not renounce everything he has cannot be my disciple. He who loves his father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. He who loves his son and daughter more than me is not worthy of me." This chapter is named Strange Morals because it sounds strange from the Christ's mouth all of what we have read. So these explanations follows. Although very rare, certain words spoken by Christ make such a strange contrast that one instinctively rejects their literal meaning, and the sublimity of his doctrine does not suffer any harm because of it. Written after his death, none of the Gospels were written during his lifetime. One may be led to believe that in this case the depth of his thought was not well expressed, or, what is no less probable, the original meaning may be suffered an alteration in passing from one language to another. It is enough for an error to be committed just once for it to be repeated in copies, as is so often seen in historical events. The word hate in the verse from Luke, "If anyone comes to me and does not hate his father and mother," is such a case. No one would even think of attributing it to Jesus, so it would be pointless to argue about it, and even less to seek to justify it. One would first have to know if he did in fact state it, and if so, one would have to determine if, in the language in which he expressed himself, this word had the same meaning as in ours. In this verse from John, he who hates his life in this world will save it for eternal life. It is certain that it does not express the idea we attach to it. The Hebrew language was not rich and contained many words with several connotations. One of these examples is in the word in Genesis that designates the phases of creation and which also serve to express a given period of time and the period of day. Thereafter came its later translation by the word day, and the belief that the world had been the work of 6 24-hour days. This simple applies to the word that meant either camel or rope. Ropes were made from camel hair, in which was translated as camel in the allegory of the eye of the needle. Nodit in Latin, kai or mise in Greek, does not mean to hate, but to love less. What the Greek verb misein expresses, the Hebrew verb that Jesus must have used expresses even better, if not only means to hate, but to love less. Not to love as much as, or not to love the same as another. In the Syriac dialect, a dialect of Aramaic, the mother tongue of Jesus, which Jesus probably used more frequently, this is accented even more. It's in the sense that it is stated in general in Genesis 29, 30, 31, and Jacob loved Rachel more than Leah, and Leah, seeing the Leah was hated. It's obvious that the true meaning here is loved less, and that is how it should be translated. In many other Hebraic passages, and especially in Syriac ones, the same verb is employed in the sense of not to love as much as another, and it would be misinterpretation to translate it as hate, which has another well-defined meaning. Furthermore, the text from Matthew clears up all difficult. So, moreover, must not must take into account the people's customs and character that influence the distinct spirit of the languages. Without this understanding, the true meaning of certain words is lost. From one language to another, the same term can bear different emphasis. It might be an insult or a blasphemy in one language, but insignificant in another, depending on the idea one attributes to it. Even the same language, certain words lose their significance over time. That's why a strictly literal translation does not always express a thought precisely. And in order to be exact, one must sometimes use equivalent or paraphrases rather than cognates. This, these remarks find a special application in the interpretation of the Holy Scriptures and the Gospels in particular. If one does not take into account the environment in which Jesus lived, one is exposed to errors regarding the meaning of certain expressions and certain events due to the tendency to liken everything to our own experience. Therefore, one must read the term hate of its modern acceptation as contrary of the spirit of Jesus' teachings. So, in the first place, let's take another look of the passage. If anyone comes to me but does not love less his father and mother, his wife and children, his brothers and sisters, and even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. And anyone who does not want to take up his cross and follow me cannot be my disciple. Therefore, anyone among you that who does not renounce everything he has cannot be my disciple. This means that, uh, just a moment, to follow Christ is to make sacrifices. Indeed, we have to renounce to a lot of our daily pleasures. We have to renounce our pride, our selfishness, to follow his teachings. That's why it's the idea is very simple, yet very difficult to follow because we have um, like crystallized behaviors that are hard to break. I think a good phrase for that is old habits die hard. Our old habits, they die hard. They don't simply vanish because we want to be better. We have to keep trying, keep making efforts to to do better, to do good, to to help those one that are put in our path that we can reach and assist, because that's what these words mean. We have to love less, not hate our life, but love less all the pleasures that we want to accomplish in order to help others. There is a constant trade off that we must seek to not to forget the spiritual and moral things that are so important for our well-being. That's why depression is always lurking at us, because if we put all 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 our efforts in just achieving things and um, material things and beneficial circumstances, our life will be empty. That's why we need to improve ourselves over time, pay attention to other things that sometimes we don't look at it, we don't pay attention to it. So that's what's most important. Working, our jobs and our daily lives are also important, but we must have a constant attention to making our best behavior possible, even if sometimes we fall, because we can't we can't make everything right. We are not perfect. We will be perfect someday, but not now. But our efforts must be constant to what we are here to do, and we are here to serve and to improve our moral attributes. Thank you all. I'm gonna ask Rosangela to make our final prayer. Please, Rosangela.
We thank the good spirits who have come to communicate with us and ask them to help us put into practice the instruction they have given us. We also hope they will ensure that each unfold us at the end of the session is fortified in the practice of good and love for our neighbor. We also wish these lessons may be useful for the suffering, ignorance, or vicious spirits who were able to attend this meeting and for whom we implore the mercy of God. Good evening.
God bless you.